my words be your words and yours be mine. Celebrate our union in this special time. Oh, here now, savoring the feeling as we breathe into this space, in this perfect moment, in this perfect place. Oh, here now, here now, world of grace. Celebrate, blessed thou. Here and now, let's enjoy the miracle that brought us here somehow, dissolving any obstacles from being present here and now. Oh, here now. Brush away the things that stand between ourselves and love, connecting with the oneness within and up above. Oh, here now. Here now. Well, it's a world of grace. Let's celebrate. Blessed vow. Hey, now, step into the selflessness our hearts will allow, taking in the timelessness with just a simple bow. Oh, here now, here now. Love shines in your eyes and in the smile upon your face, walking here in beauty in our day-to-day with grace. Here now, here now, here now, here now.
Let's join our hearts together in prayer. What we know is that this is a place where we can be ourselves. We can free ourselves into the light and into the love of who we really are. Here in this place, as the light shines through our windows and our doors are open wide, we allow ourselves to step inside, to move into our hearts, a place we know as our true home. It is from this place that our sorrows are comforted. Our hope is renewed. Our inspiration is ignited right here, right now. This is where we start. We revel in the love that's deep inside our hearts. And so it is.
Here
there is a power, a creative power, divine within us. Play will take you there. There is a playfulness, a precious playfulness, innate within us. Joy will take you there. There is a joy, a bubbling up joy, a spring within us. I am, is there.
I am a child of the living God, raised in the image of perfect love. All that I am, all I've been given to you, my God, I surrender. I surrender. I am a child of the living God, raised in the image of perfect love. All that I am, all I've been given to you, my God, I surrender. I surrender.
Good morning. Happy Earth Day. Michelle and John and some of our YOUers are this weekend at a YOU event, and so we bless them and look forward to hearing their stories next weekend. And I want to give a shout out to Steve Mason for he's been working with our youth and teaching them songwriting, and we're really excited about it. So.
Here we go. Thank you for being our family. Thank you for being our friend. Thank you for blessing and teaching us. God bless you. Amen. All that I am, all I've been given to you, my God, I surrender. I surrender.
Well, good morning and welcome to Unity in Lynnwood. We're so very glad that each of you are here. Unity in Lynnwood is a place of practical spirituality in a welcoming community. It's a practical spirituality because what we learn about here and the steps we take forward in our lives and our consciousness meets up with the real realities of our lives during the week, which is just a great marriage of bringing a philosophy, a consciousness, our values, and our own wisdom and guidance from the divine into our life situations. And we do that here in a context of a welcoming community. And, you know, I was thinking about what it is to be a welcoming community, and we could talk a long time about that. I won't, but I will sort of break it down a little bit into some things I was thinking about in terms of what it is that we do, that I see happen here as a welcoming community. First, I think we are open to one another. We are open to seeing each other, hearing from each other. Open versus resistant or judgment, right? It's open, welcoming, inviting, encouraging. We open ourselves to the relationships we have with one another. And in those relationships, then we become present. We are present for one another. We show up in those moments when we're relating, when we're talking, when we're connecting, and we're present in those moments. And that may be different than we experience in other areas of our lives during the week. And I think there's something that we all feel that's special here when someone shows up as present, seeing the divine in us and us acknowledging that in ourselves as well. And then, as a part of that same welcome, we take some sort of action. And that action may be as simply as silent listening while someone expresses something about what they're going through, something happening in their lives. That action is opening our ears wide. Or that action may be an offering of service, of words of compassion or care or encouragement or excitement about something that's going on. So when we are open to one another, we are present with one another, and then we take action in line with our deepest values, that helps nurture this welcoming community that we're all a part of. Thank you for doing that all the time here. I love it. Unity in Lynnwood supports one another in prayer in all those ways. Another way is there's a card in the seat back in front of you. You can take that card and write some prayer requests that you have on it. Something that you're going through in your life that you'd like additional prayer support for, something that you'd like to amplify in your life. Put that on that card and put it in the offering basket as it goes by later in the service. Those prayer requests will get lots of prayer attention. You can also call our prayer line anytime during the week, a confidential prayer line that our prayer chaplains monitor, and you can also leave a prayer request on our website as well. Or if you are someone who likes to have that personal relationship on Sunday in terms of that personal prayer support, you can come and meet with one of our prayer chaplains. You know, I was just thinking this week, in addition to those ways that we get prayer here or have that offered to us, I actually had my prayer chaplain call me this week. Has anyone ever had that before as part of, yes? Whether they get you live or they get you on your voice recorder, it's fantastic. How great is that? And the timing of those calls is incredible. Just this last week, actually, was this amazing moment at my business, and one of my support staff, I've sort of moved offices, and I'm in this sort of kind of what we used to call the way back. It's a small office with just a desk, and people thought that might be still open, but I was in there working, and one of my support assistants popped her head in, and I said, oh, you know, come on in. And she said, oh, I was just looking for a place for my afternoon prayer. She's of the Islam faith, and I was just, we talked about that for a minute. I was so thrilled. I didn't even know that we provided a place for prayer every day for our people of faith. So how fantastic is that, you know, that we're supporting that? So we talked about that, that encouraging her to find that private place of prayer in the afternoon before she got back to work. And then what happens right then? My prayer chaplain calls me, right? And she says, would this be a good time? I said, this would be a very good time. So it was just fantastic to get those words of encouragement and support through prayer. I was touched by that, and actually my life moved forward in the directions that I was hoping that it would, as I shared with my prayer chaplain. So not only can we reach out to them, sometimes they reach out to us as well, right? So if you would like to have a time of personal connection with your prayer chaplain, let's recognize them today, and you can find them at the end of service. You want to go ahead and stand up, our prayer chaplains? They're wearing purple prayer stoles. We're so thankful for your service to our community. They'll be up here in the front of the sanctuary, and you can meet them for a time of personal prayer. One particular form of prayer that we practice here at Unity is that of affirmative prayer. When we say the things that we would like to see more in our lives in an affirmative, positive way. I'm going to go ahead and say our affirmation once, and I invite, while I do that, all of us to open our minds and our hearts to these words, the truth of this statement, and then I'm going to have us all stand, and if you'd like, join together. The I am that I am knows itself as unrestrained, unrestricted, unbridled, and unlimited possibility. That is true. Let's go ahead and stand. And together. The I am that I am knows itself as unrestrained, unrestricted, unbridled, and unlimited possibility. And so it is. Let's take a moment to greet those around us, and we'll come back for some great music.
Love is but a song we sing. The fear's away we die. You can make the mountains ring or make the angels cry. Though the bird is on the wing, you may not know why. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. We sing, come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Some may come and some may go, we will surely pass. When the one who left us here returns for us at last, we are but a moment's sunlight, are just fading in the grass. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. If you hear the song we sing, you will understand. You hold the key to love and fear, all in your trembling hand. Just one key unlocks them both. It's there at your command. Here we go. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. We can sing it. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Try to love one another right now. Uno más. Try to love one another right now.
Our own Steve Mason. Amazing. And of course, David on bass and Kathy on drums. What will we do without you? Terrific. Registrations are available at unityandlynnwood.org for our all-community retreat themed Divine Audacity, Embody Your True Self with acclaimed author Reverend Linda Martella Whitsitt. She's got a smile that just knocks you over, doesn't it? Awesome. Reserve Friday and Saturday, June 22nd and 23rd. $99 includes all materials and meals and is open to the first 50 registrants. And UIL is proud to announce and produce the Love America Tour Seattle. This is kind of a big deal, with Marianne Williamson on Saturday, June 30th. Visit the Edmonds Center for the Arts site to purchase your tickets. And please note that our next artist hallway, now under the leadership of Nelia Fajardo, is scheduled for June 1st. We request that current artwork be removed before May 1st. And if you are among the artists currently featured, will you stand and allow us to acknowledge you? Any artists here today that... Oh, there you are. Thank you. Thank you. I love our artist hallway, and I just got a sneak preview from Nelia about what's going to happen for the rest of the year. It's going to be fantastic. We have a great speaker here today. Dr. Garland Landrith is a cutting-edge quantum field psychologist and energy healer whose work was cited in the acclaimed film, What the Bleep Do We Know? His scientific studies have been published in numerous journals, including International Journal of Neuroscience, Journal of Crime and Justice, and the Journal of Mind and Behavior. Cited by numerous authors, including Deepak Chopra, Neil Donald Walsh, and Dr. Dean Radin, and featured on numerous radio and television programs, including ABC's The View. Dr. Landrith was among the first to scientifically document that what we think can have a profound influence on our outer world. In his pioneering research studies, he established that the inner thoughts of groups can improve the quality of life in the cities in which they live by lowering crimes, auto accidents, and suicides. In short, we can create miracles in our outer worlds with our minds. Here to offer We Can Create Miracles, let's give a warm UIL reception to Dr. Garland Landrith.
Thank you so much. I think we'll start off with the meditation. So I like getting into the quantum stuff first. So feeling it. So we're going to use a little technique, some heart math. We'll start off by putting our right hand over our heart, left hand over that, and then we'll close our eyes. And we'll start off with taking a deep breath into the heart. And releasing. Another deep breath into the heart. Releasing. Another breath into the heart. And releasing. Now I want you to think of someone or something you feel love towards. Could be your doggy, your significant other, your munchkins. Feel that love. Releasing it into a flow by letting thoughts come and go. My spirit is awakening. I feel my love flowing. I am flowing. I am flowing throughout the whole universe, connected with the stars and the galaxies. I've got stardust in my soul. The same divine love that created this whole universe is flowing within me. I'm being held in the arms of God. I am safe. I am truly blessed by all the gifts I've been given. And I'm truly blessed by all the gifts that are already on their way. Thank you, God. I love you. Let's take a deep breath into the heart. And releasing. Another deep breath into the heart. And releasing. Another deep breath into the heart. And releasing. Another deep breath in the heart. And releasing. You might wiggle your toes. And then let's slowly open our eyes. I'm excited to be here. The first time I talked with Reverend Richard was years ago when he first came here with another minister. And I was really impressed. I thought, this guy is amazing. He's, and I've met a lot of ministers. I've been over 200 Unity churches. There's only one Richard. I mean, he's like a Renaissance minister. I'm serious. He does music, and he does, of course, he does amazing philosophy. Did you guys read that little blurb on consciousness in his website? But most importantly, he cares, really cares. Now, I'm having a great time here. This church is very special. I knew that, by the way, at the Unity Convention when I had so many people come up to me from your church and introduce themselves to me when I was at my booth. And they said, you got to come out there. So I said, yeah, I got to come out there. Because when you had like 4 or 5 people coming from a church, it means your church is really good, really solid. So I was really excited about coming out here. We could get it arranged and I could give him a break. So, I'll come back rejuvenated. Now, and I'm having a great time. I'm with the Kalfas family. Unbelievable vegan pizza we had last night. So it'd be a tough one to top that one. So anyway, today we're going to talk about miracles. And scientists hate the idea of miracles. That's because when you have a miracle, it violates a law of nature, by definition. So let's give you something better in quantum physics. It happens all the time. Let me give you an example. Let's say an object can't be in 2 different places at the same time, right? Wrong is right. You can take over. I'll just take a break. When you have an electron circling an atom, if nobody's watching that electron, it magically turns into energy waves. And with energy waves, it's everywhere at the same time. Not just 2 different places, but it's everywhere. Here's a big one. Einstein's law of relativity. It's another law of nature. The most fundamental law of modern physics. And the pillar upon which that rests is nothing can go faster than the speed of light. Right? Wrong. Right. What happened in 1931, 2 very famous physicists by the name of Schrödinger and Heidelberg proposed a theory called quantum entanglement. Quantum entanglement is, if you have a couple electrons circling an atom, they become magically entwined, beyond time-space limitations. So even if you were to separate them by 1,000,000 miles, if you pushed on one of them, the other would instantaneously go in the exact same direction. In fact, so instantaneously, because of the communication, there's faster than the speed of light, because it takes a time for the light to get there. So Einstein hated this theory. At one point, he called it spooky action at a distance. In 1981, Einstein was proven wrong. Then they redid the experiment in Switzerland where the new cyclotron is a couple years ago, and they found that not only did 2 electrons communicate faster than the speed of light, it was 10,000 times faster than the speed of light. If you're going to break a law of nature, you might as well go all the way. However, the spookiest thing in physics is the advent that consciousness itself is indeed the quantum field. Now, this is kind of woo-woo stuff. So, and if I'm going to reference something in the What the Bleep. If you haven't seen the movie, don't worry. I'm going to summarize it and give you the main points. And if it gets a little entangled, don't worry about it. So basically, in the movie, I know a lot of you did see the movie, they were shooting these electrons through a slit, and they were lining up in the back wall, right? And as long as there was an eye there, the little balls stayed, the little balls of electrons. A nice, neat line in the back wall. As soon as the eye went away, which represents consciousness, there was 16 lines on the back wall. And they talked about it in terms of interference. They didn't do a good job of explaining it in the movie. But what this basically means is this. Without consciousness, you can't have matter. You need consciousness to collapse energy waves into matter. So without particles of matter, you can't have people, you can't have stars, you can't have galaxies, you can't have a universe. So what physics has discovered is there has to be consciousness that is creating something out of nothing. And, of course, in my way of looking at it, I think they discovered God. They won't say that, but there is this consciousness running around doing stuff. There's maybe not running around, but you get the point. Now, here's the big question. We have consciousness. Is our consciousness the same stuff that's created this whole universe? Yes, good. I like that. And there's been over 1,000 studies that prove that our consciousness is exactly the same as the quantum consciousness that created this whole universe. Now, I like to categorize them in 4 different groups to make it easy. The first group is the prayer research, which, by the way, Unity Church has been an active participant in. And one of the reasons I love Unity Church is they participated in these studies by subjecting their theories and thoughts to scientific scrutiny. And they've been, and one of the most important studies ever done in prayer is done by Unity Church, which I'll talk about in just a few minutes. And then the other research that's kind of related to this in some ways is the research that I was involved with. Back in the 1980s, I looked at the idea that people meditating can change the outside world in a beneficial way, and including reducing crimes, auto accidents, and suicides. And the third group is the group that shows that we can know things before they happen. And the fourth group is the research from Princeton that shows that consciousness can even influence machines. Far out kind of stuff. All right, so let's take a look at the prayer research. Now, we're all familiar with the first prayer studies. They'd pray for one ward at the hospital. They wouldn't pray for the surrounding wards. And the wards they would pray for would get well faster, have less need for antibiotics, better quality of life, and in some cases, less deaths than the surrounding wards. Now, they did a bunch of these studies, and most scientists poo-pooed this research. They said that what was really going on was the people doing the praying happened to pick the ward of the hospital with the best doctors and best nurses. And the people doing the praying had an uncanny knack for figuring out which of those wards had the best doctor. They were really good at it. And so eventually they did a double-blind study. I think it was in 1988. It was the first double-blind study was done. Now, double-blind is the Cadillac version of research. It's as good as it gets. You pray for one group. You don't pray for the other group. You're randomly assigned throughout the hospital. You don't know which group you're in. It's as good as it gets. And guess what? Same results. They did a whole bunch of these studies. Same results. So finally somebody said, well, maybe there is, and this is a scientist, of course, maybe there is something to prayer. But what prayer really is, it's positive thinking. Now, is prayer just positive thinking, or is it something else? Interesting question, right? So, now, Unity Church was involved in a study done in 1999 in Kansas City, which is the home of Unity, one of my favorite studies of all time, where they did a triple-blind study. Now, what's a triple-blind study? A triple-blind study means that no one knows they're being in a study. That's why it's called triple-blind. So let's say I'm sick, to give you an example. And my angel Joy over here is going to pray for me, and I get well faster because she's praying for me. Now, if she doesn't tell me, it can't be due to positive thinking, right? Has to be woo-woo, right? Woo-woo kind of stuff. You got it. You got it. It's one of those spooky action at a distance kinds of things. Well, they did a whole study like this. And it was over 1,200 people in a hospital in Kansas City. Nobody knew that the study was going on, including the doctors and nurses. They prayed for half, didn't pray for the other half. Guess what? Same results as the other prayer research. Now, this blew a lot of people's mind because it meant that prayer was not just positive thinking. So they tried another one in Columbia, New York. They prayed for people in Korea. And it was a women's in vitro fertilization clinic, kind of an interesting twist. So in other words, the prayers from New York had to go through molten rock and whatever else in the middle of the world and arrive at the right person in Korea who was trying to get pregnant. And what they found was, again, the women didn't know that they were part of a study. They found that the women who were being prayed for had a 50% greater chance of getting pregnant than the women who weren't being prayed for. Brings up a whole new idea to the idea of immaculate conception, but we won't touch that one here. Now, this is huge, though, because the interesting thing about prayer, there's been over 250 studies on it. Only a handful have come out insignificant. Probably one of the most reliable things we've studied in science. Look at coffee. 1 week, coffee's good for you. Another study comes out next week, it's bad for you, right? It's not that way with prayer. Only a couple, 3 studies have not come out significant. But the bigger question is this: how come even one of those studies came out significant? Because our brain waves, the electromagnetic field in our brain, really doesn't get past our skull bones. This is one of those quantum things, one of those spooky action at distance things. We're able to influence people with our own consciousness. In other words, implying that our consciousness is not just here, but it's also out there. Unbelievable, okay? Same with the research on meditation, which is the second group. The research on meditation, let's see, that one, by the time we went to, what we decided about in 1982 was TM people, the TM Transcendental Meditation Group, they decided to prove it. We'd already done 20 studies. I started this research way back in the 1980s, and we did 20 studies before they actually did the demonstration project in Washington, D.C. Every one of them came out significant. So we did 20 some odd before we even went out there. So I knew it would work as long as we got enough people there. So we waltzed into Washington, D.C. We all were in a huge, big ballroom. We were there for 6 weeks. And we meditated, started about 7:30 in the morning, went till about 1 o'clock, something like that. Took a break till about 3, came back about 3, and went till about 7. And while we were there, of course, the crime rates went down 23%. Before we walked out there, though, we told the mayor, who was Mayor Barry, he was the cocaine mayor, he was rehabilitated. Yeah, and so, but he was a really cool guy. And then we told the police chief, we told all the newspapers. We were that sure it was going to work. And if it didn't work, they would have poo-pooed all of our other research. So now, while we were there, the crime rates went down. Everybody always asks me, well, how did you do this? And they tell me, what'd you say? You must have had some kind of intention, right? I mean, you can't change crime rates without intentions. How could you change crime rates without any intentions? That doesn't make any sense. So what kind of intentions did we have? Anybody a guess? There you go. We never once thought about crime rates while we were there. We got out of the way. We got out of the way. We let the divine flow through us. We added our force to the divine. We didn't do anything. Because you can't get to the quantum by trying to get there. Throw all that stuff about intentions out the door. So that's how we did it. We didn't do anything. Because when you want something, what are you attracting? Lack. You hit the nail on the head. Beautiful. Beautiful. You don't have it. You're attracting lack. If you want to become abundant, you've got to live abundance. That's the secret of all secrets. So now let's move on to the next group of research studies, which is even more far out. Well, almost more far out. It's the stuff that happened. This actually study was done on psychic stuff. And it actually didn't work. But it sort of didn't work, but did work. So it's one of those weird studies. But anyway, they were doing a psychic study. And a bunch of TVs, and people were in front of the TVs. And every 8 seconds, a new photograph would come up on the screen. And the photograph was one of 2 different types. A negative one, which is people in morgues, so very gruesome, and a positive one. Beautiful nature scenes. And the people couldn't guess in advance which photograph was going to come up on the screen. But lucky for us, that wasn't the end of the story. Because the negative photograph was so negative, they hooked people up to a GSR machine, which measures anxiety in the body, similar to a lie detector. And what they anticipated would there be a spike of anxiety every time the negative photo was presented. Well, they did indeed find the negative spike, the spike in anxiety. But it happened before the negative photograph was presented and not before the positive one. So in other words, our body knew it was going to happen before it happened. Remember the old adage, I knew it in my gut? There's a lot of truth to that. So that nobody believed it, so they redid the experiment, same results, in a different laboratory. They went overseas. They wanted to get as far away from that laboratory as they could. Then they looked inside the brain. The whole brain would light up with anxiety about 4 seconds before the negative photo. And this group of studies were done 12 years ago. Nobody touched them ever since until about 2 years ago. A very famous psychologist by the name of Dr. Bem, who's in every psychological textbook. I've done a bunch of psychology classes at major universities, and I can tell you, he's in every textbook. He's well known. He decided to revisit it 2 years ago. He did 10 studies. 9 of them came out significant. And he submitted this study to the Journal of Social Psychology, a very conservative psychological journal. They decided to publish it, but they wrote at the very top of the study, first of all, we don't believe it. This is really true. I mean, how can you know things before they happen? That doesn't make any sense. But he said, so he must have made some mistake. If it was anybody else for Dr. Ben, we wouldn't even publish it. So right now, psychology is going through a turmoil because they're entering the quantum age, beyond time, space limitations. Personally, I think it's a good thing. The last group of, matter of fact, I was talking to somebody today, and they said psychology's changed dramatically in the last couple of years. I like that. So the last group of research is even more far out. This is the one from scientists and engineers from Princeton. Now, they had the idea, okay, if our consciousness is quantum-based, let's build a machine which is quantum-based and see if they can interact with each other. That makes sense. And what they did was they took a machine which is using cosmic radiation from outer space, which, by the way, is very reliable. You can run atomic clocks by it. And they took this, they made a machine, and basically they used it so that the output from the machine was 101010. Very reliable because cosmic radiation is very reliable. Then they took college freshmen, had them concentrate on the machine to see if they could change the output from 1010 to 111 or 000. And after hundreds of thousands of trials, they found a significant but very, very weak effect. Personally, I don't know how they managed it at all, because I remember when I was a freshman in college, I could barely get out of bed, much less influence a quantum field random number generator. So they had a brilliant idea. Let's put 3 or 4 of these kids together and see if the effect is stronger. And that's what they found. The more doing it, the stronger the effect. So they put these machines all over the world, and what they found out they were measuring was the collective consciousness. So whenever we're doing something at the same time, like watching the opening ceremonies of the Olympics, machines go crazy. Instead of 1010, they do 111 or 00. We don't know which direction they're going to go. They just kind of make their mind up and go that way. And also the tsunami, the Katrina, the OJ trial verdict, they have about 250 of these studies on their website. Now, the machines were going on during 9/11. 2 amazing things happened during 9/11. First of all, the machines went crazy for 4 straight days. Nothing like that's ever been seen before. But the real interesting thing was the machines started going crazy 4 hours before 9/11 actually happened. That's before the terrorists even got in the airplane. So we must have known what was going to happen before it happened in terms of the collective consciousness. So fascinating stuff. Okay, so what kind of conclusions can we draw from this? I think 4, we can probably come up with a lot more than that, but let's start with 4. First of all, life after death. That's a huge one. If our consciousness is quantum-based, which means beyond time, space limitations, that means when the brain dies, our parts of our consciousness, our whole consciousness doesn't have to die. Doesn't have to die. And that's what the research is proving. Okay? It also implies that we're part of the collective consciousness of all this universe. Even more interesting, because we're connected, which is the second main conclusion. We're connected. Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor from Harvard, she had a stroke that shut down her left hemisphere. Left hemisphere is that monkey part of the brain that always analyzes, always intends, always does this and does that. Well, when she had that stroke, instead of being in agony, she was in ecstasy. She had the traditional mystical experience. You can read about it in her book, My Stroke of Insight, or she's on TED too. Awesome stuff. But the thing that really hit me, for the first time in her life, her words, I was not alone. I was not alone. For the first time in my life, I felt I was connected with everyone in every place. Unbelievable. Which brings us to the last, no, not the last, the third conclusion. Together we can make a bigger difference than we can alone. When we come together and meditate together like we did today, pray together, not only are we helping ourselves, we're helping change the collective consciousness. So many people today feel impotent. They feel like they can't make a difference in their lives. We are already making a difference. Just the other day, I saw a study done on, poll on gay marriage. 65% of Americans are now for gay marriage. Just 2 years ago, 65 were against it. And all of our presidents were against it. There has been a shift in the collective consciousness. This was not done politically. This was done with a shift. It didn't happen politically. It happened because our consciousness is growing more towards love and connection. By us doing this work, it's shifting it in that direction. We don't have to worry about changing people's minds. We have to get rid of our own conflict and our own negative thoughts. The outside world will become what we are. It's huge. It's huge. The consciousness article that Reverend Held did was awesome. I could look at it and see what he was totally positive. I loved it. So now the last major conclusion is science is proving spirituality. Everybody in here has had doubts at one time or another. Everybody. It is so refreshing to be living in a time when science is disproving our doubts, proving what we know to be true in our hearts, washing away these doubts. It's probably the most exciting time that I've ever been alive. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. I wanted to say a few words about the seminar. Now, I've done this seminar. I've probably taught well over 30,000 unitics, people from Unity Church. And one of the questions I always ask everybody, how many people know what their problems are, but they keep making the same mistakes over and over again? Everybody raises their hands. Okay, that's not your fault. These are old brain pathways. Now, these old brain pathways, we can actually have techniques to change them now. But here's the interesting part about it. If consciousness creates miracles, then so does our subconscious mind. By definition, we're not aware of it. So if we have doubts or fears in our subconscious, it is also creating realities. So that's why so many of us feel like we're taking one step forward and one step back at the same time. Okay? This is the issue we have. Deepak Chopra, Bruce Lipton both said, unless we can clear out the subconscious stuff, we're not going to get very far. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to show you how to use these energy techniques and the quantum, which is the key. Because if we're quantum beings, we need to learn how to get to the quantum. We learn how to get out of the way. One of my favorite quotes from Charles Fillmore, surrender the results. Surrender the results. So we're going to teach you how to get out of the way and get into the quantum so that we can create those miracles that we all want to have happen. So, and the other good thing is by doing these techniques, you're helping the world. Change the collective consciousness. So we're not helpless anymore. So that's what we're going to do. Teach you those techniques. We're going to be doing heart math and tapping and maybe Ho'oponopono. And we'll be doing the inner child work and the quantum all together. And we're doing some healing, although I hate the word healing because it implies something's wrong with you, which is nothing wrong with you, but you know how that goes. You have to use some kind of word for it. So we're going to clear out blocks. And we're also going to show you how to manifest using the quantum. So we're having today and tomorrow. It's a 2-day class. If you can't make both days, then come to one day because we're going to be doing healing and manifestation in both classes, although we'll do some other things in between. So you get the main body of it either way. If you can't make today's class, then come early tomorrow at 5:30 so we can catch up, okay? If you can't make either class, then we've got CDs and DVDs back there, which you can use to take the class home with you. Also have a mailing list, send you free stuff, so we try to accommodate everybody. So anyway, I'm really excited. Be sure to get the mailing list. And at this point, I think I'm booked with personal sessions. So, but put your name on the list. I might be able to get you. Might be able to do you on Wednesday or something. We'll talk about it. So anyway, I'm really excited about being here. Thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm really looking forward to being with you this afternoon and tomorrow evening. And thanks again.
Thank you, Dr. Landrith. Thanks very much. So, going to do a song that'll lead into our offering here, and it's actually about gratitude. So, it's called "Thank You For." If you feel like singing along, the choruses are very intricate. They include the words "Thank you for." So, yes, very intricate. Thank you for your love and more, gifts untold, shelter from the cold. When I'm feeling sad or lonely, you let me know I'm not the only one who's ever been here. Thank you for your gifts and more. That's what I thank you for. Through all my noise, you've given me the choice. Though I complain, oh, sometimes about the cold rain, you pick me up so I can listen for a while. Just the things that I've been missing in my life. Thank you for your gifts and more. That's what I thank you for. Thank you for. Thank you for. As I explore each new corridor, I've been rich and poor, stumbled through my share of doors. When I'm feeling sad or lonely, you remind me of all the folks who've loved me in my life. Thank you for your gifts and more. That's what I thank you for. Oh, thank you for. Thank you for. Thank you for your love and more. That's what I thank you for.
And in that spirit of gratitude, as you prepare our tithes and our love offerings, I want to thank you for your support to this ministry, for your generosity, for your love, and every good intention behind the gifts you give. Thank you.
Thank you for. Thank for. Thank you 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 for your gifts and more. That's what I thank you for.
Let's bless these gifts together. Thank you, God, that your living spirit of truth, expressing through us, blesses and multiplies all that we are, all that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive. And so it is. Thank you, ushers. Thank you, Steve. Every Sunday, we like to have the opportunity to say hello to anyone who might be visiting us for the first time. We don't want to put you on the spot, but we do want to recognize you with a round of applause if you'd like to be recognized. You want to put your hand in the air if this is your first Sunday? Anyone here? Hi, nice to see you. Yeah. In the seat back in front of you, you'll find a newcomer's information card, and there's also, for you and anyone else who hasn't updated their information recently, a stay in touch card, and you can put your contact email on that, and that results in just a couple emails each month that are both informational as well as inspirational. I love getting these emails, so we're so glad you're here. And after the service, everyone is welcome to come back to the Friendship Hall because today your Board of Trustees has generously provided hospitality, and all donations will benefit UIL's building fund. And of course, we thank you for your support of that. And I understand that hospitality is a hearty portion today. We'll just call it lunch. For those of you who want to stay for Dr. Landrith's workshop afterward, you don't need to jut off if you don't want to because there'll be plenty of nourishment here for you. We have some announcements. We'll just recap the details about Dr. Landrith's offerings. Please join Dr. Landrith today at 1 p.m. and tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. for his workshop entitled Living Your Dreams by Unblocking Your Subconscious. This healing experience combines heart math, ho'oponopono, and EFT tapping. $49 for both workshops or $39 for one, payable at the door, and you're also welcome to register for private sessions, if there's any left, for an hourly rate during the day on Monday and Tuesday. Thank you, Dr. Landrith. Interfaith at UIL proudly hosts the consecration of our own Mother, Kathy Chalmers, to the Holy Order of Bishop on Saturday, April 28th at 4 p.m. A Renaissance woman in our midst, drummer as well. All are invited and welcome to participate in this very special Mass celebrated by bishops of the Ascension Alliance. Allow 2 hours and reception will follow.
And you'll get to see me face down on the floor, and that alone is worth the price of admission.
Wow, we're coming for that. Yeah, and much more. And we invite you to Body Brain Tune-Up. Nancy Joy Callahan, a licensed brain gym consultant, will provide this informative experiential workshop for all ages, facilitating whole brain function with simple integrative movements of brain gym to reduce stress, facilitate learning, enhance memory, and help to improve communication and relationships. A short video of Bruce Lipton explaining and recommending the movements of brain gym will be shown on Sunday, May 6th at 1 to 2:30. And in 2016, UIL acquired the adjacent 5.5 acres of preserved forested wetlands. That was a good thing. Join us as we bless this nature preserve and the precious life it supports, ours included, as we welcome its highest use in upcoming years. Next Sunday, April 29th, following the 11 o'clock service. And our 2018 adult education continues on Tuesdays in May with the history of New Thought based on the book Spirits in Rebellion by Braden Smith. Explore New Thought genealogy from the pioneering works of the mental healing and prosperity movements of the mid-1800s through the rise of transcendentalist thought through the beginnings of unity itself. Explore how these early ideas still apply to our current spiritual journeys, and Reverend Nina Clark facilitates. Thank you, Nina. And your Board of Trustees cordially invites you to a spring fundraising event called Spring Swing. All right, everyone can do it. There's a lesson. All right, there we go. Enjoy a cocktail hour. You can go on, I suppose. Come on. Come on. Here we go. Enjoy a cocktail hour with heavy appetizers, a group swing dance lesson, and an evening of dance and merriment to the amazing sounds of the Purple Passion Swing Band. All right, we're into it. This is a not-to-miss party. Purchase your ticket today at the gift shop for $35. All are welcome. That was too much fun. Very good. These and all good things happening at Unity in Lynnwood can be found on your printed program or by visiting our Facebook page or the calendar page of our website at unityinlynnwood.org.
All right, let's join in singing our peace song.
Yeah.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator. United all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And now in this energy of love, joy, and enthusiasm, we think of anyone who might be on our heart, and we want to offer their names now into this energy field. And for each of those names spoken and each of those names unspoken, we see the highest and good for them and for us in every situation. And together, we know this: the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you for coming. Have a great week. And so it is.
So it is. Come on, people now. Smile on your brother. Everybody get together. Try to love one another right now. Come on, people now. Smile on your brother. Everybody get together. Try to love one another right now. Try to love one another right now. Try to love